Hi, this is Edgar Troxel. In today's tutorial we're going to talk about a special request that we had, and this one I'm going to just show how we approached it. First, let's take a look to see what the actual request was, and then we'll see how we approached achieving this task. In this request there were going to be several markers placed on the track, and if, for example, we had a marker with a 1 on it, we wanted to put an image 1 there. Here's one with a 1 on it. We wanted an image 1 on there. And then down here we have a number 0. That means remove all images. And here is a 7, which means put image number 7. Here is a 5, which means put image number 5. And now we have all these other markers to look at as well. We have a marker here that says start, a marker here that says mistake, a marker over here that says end. Basically, if it's not a number, I just want to ignore it. But instead of ignoring it, I want to also extend the image out across that one if there is an image showing. And then we have these blank ones. This one is blank. This one is blank. This one is blank. What a blank one is supposed to mean is just add the next image. So here we're adding image number 1. Here we're going to add image number 2. Here we're adding image number 1 again, and then this will add images 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we want 5 to extend through this marker all the way to this marker, and then we turn the images off. Then we're going to show image number 7, image number 8, then we're going to go back to image number 5, 6, 7, 8, and turn the images off, and then we'll ignore this one. So let's write a script that will actually perform that task. Here's our standard script. In the top section, I created me an array for file names. I was setting this to a max number of 8 images, since that's what the request was. So I made my array 9 long so I could use array positions 1 through 8. Remember, if I set it to 8, then it's going to be positions 0 through 7. So if I set it to 9, then my positions are 0 through 8, even though I'm only going to use 1 through 8. So then our maximum number of images I set to 8. Then I created me a processing flag. Am I currently processing numbers? That way, if I see a blank one and I'm processing, then I want to put in the next number. If I'm not processing, then I don't put in the next number. If I see mistake and I'm processing, then I want to extend over that to the next marker. If I am not processing, then I don't want to do anything. So this is going to be an important little flag that we have. Then I want to specify my current number that I'm on. I'm going to initialize that to 0. And then my track event, I'm going to create one called last added event. That way, if I need to stretch one out, I know which one it is that I need to stretch out. So down in the main routine, my first call is to initialize array. Let's go take a look at that right quick. For initialize array, every line is exactly the same. I am setting array position 1 equal to the path for the overlay 1 image. Then I'm setting position number 2 of the array equal to the path to the second image. So we do the same thing for all 8 images. Naturally, if we had more images, we would have more lines here. So now let's go back up to the top, and the first thing I'm going to do is create me a video track, which I'm going to call my marker track. And I do that by creating a new video track, and I put a 0 here so that it will be at the top. Then in the project, myvegas.project.tracks, I'm going to add this marker track to the timeline. Now I'm going to go through each of the markers. So for each marker, my marker in myvegas.project.markers, I'm going to set this number equal to 0. Then I'm getting this label from my marker.label. Then I need to check to see, is this a number? So I get me a Boolean variable, is number, and then we want to get an integer if we can, and then we're going to try to parse this from this label, which we got from my marker.label. So let's look at this label and try to create an integer out of that. If we cannot, then is number will be false. If we can, then is number will be true, and then we're going to output the number into this number. So if it is a number, then I want to check to see if it's a valid number. If this number is less than 0, or this number is greater than max number, then I'm going to say this really was not a number, because this is outside the range of the numbers that I'm looking for. I can't use a negative number. I can't use a number that's greater than 8. If a number is greater than 8, then I'm just going to treat it as a string. So then let's come on down to this next loop. If it is not a number, if this label is blank, then I want to use the next number if I'm processing. So if processing, then I want to increment my current number to be the next number. Now just in case I was on number 8 and I increment it and I'm now on number 9, if my current number is greater than max number, then I want to come back around to the first number. So if it was on 8, I now reset it back to 1 so that I can add that instead. And then my last added event is going to be an event returned by the add event routine. And the add event routine is going to get the marker track, the current number, and the marker. Let's look at add event now. Add event is down here, and it's going to return a track event. Like we said, we passed it the track, the image number, and the marker information. Then we are going to get the time code of the marker position, which is going to be the start of that event. Then I set me an event end variable, which I just set to be the length of the project. So it's going to be at the very end of the project. Now I want to get the index number of the current marker, because I actually want to look at the next marker, because I want this one to end at the next marker. So if this index is less than the number of markers I have minus 1, then I can look at the next marker because there is one. If it's not, then I'm just going to leave this event, will go all the way to the project end. But if there is a next marker, then that is where I want it to end. So my event end will be myvegas.project.markers, and it's going to be the index of the current marker plus 1, which will get me the next marker, dot position. Now I need to load the media. So I have me a media variable called myMedia, which is new media from file names, and I get that from the image number that I passed. So that will be a 1 through 8, and that will use it from the array that we created over here. So if the number was 4, it's going to add overlay 4. Then we need to get the stream from that media. So my stream equals mymedia.streams.getItem by media type. The type of media we want is mediatype.video, and then the stream we want is stream number 0. Then we're going to create a video event, which I called my event. It's a new video event. It's going to start at the event start location, which is the current marker position. And its length is going to be the end of the event, where we want the event to end, minus the event start. So that will get us the length. Then on this track, .events, we're going to add my event. So now we have the event, it's on the timeline. Now we have to add the stream to the event. So we do our take, my take equals a new take, and we get that from my stream. And then the event.takes.add my take. So now that event with that image is added to the timeline. Now we need to return the track event. Well, up here you see we created a video event for my event because this is video, but I'm going to return a track event. So all I do is return and convert this to track event from my event. So now it's returning the track event. So now we come back up here, and this is the line we just looked at. And so our last added event is a track event, which we got by adding the event to the timeline. While we're still, this is not a number. We just did it if the label is blank. If the label is not blank, then here's what we want to do. We want to extend it out to the next marker. So we set our event end equal to the project length, just like we did down below. Then we get the index is my marker.index. And once again, if this index is less than the count of indexes minus 1, then there is another marker. And so we change the event end to equal myvegas.project.markers, and it'll be the next marker, which is this index plus 1, dot position. And then we're going to change the length of the last added event to be the event end, which we calculated up here. It's either going to be the project length or where the next marker is, minus the last added event dot start. So all we do is make that event longer. That would be in the case of mistake, for example. There was an event leading up to mistake, and so this is going to extend it past the mistake marker to the next marker. Now that's all we're going to do if it is not a number. If it is a number, then we need to do something else, and that's where this else comes in. So this is all if it is a number. If this number equals 0, we just said that 0 means we're going to stop putting things on the timeline. So if this number equals 0, then we're going to set processing equal to false. We're going to set our current number equal to 0. And then we're going to set our last added event equal to null, because we no longer have a last added event. If the number is not 0, that'll be an else. Then we're going to set processing equal to true. Our current number is going to be this number, and then our last added event is going to be set through this add event call. This is the same add event routine we just looked at. So in review, we go through every one of the markers. If it is a number, we check to make sure it's in range. Then, if it is not a number, if the label is blank and we're processing, then we go to the next number. If it is not blank, if we are processing, then we just extend it out. If we're not processing it, we can just ignore it. Otherwise, it is a number. So if this number is 0, we stop processing. Otherwise, we start processing and add the current one to the track. So let's see how this works. So here you can see we have overlay number 1, then automatically went to overlay number 2. This one went back to overlay number 1, automatically went to 2, 3, 4, and 5. Here we had our mistake, but it stays on 5 all the way through to the next marker, which is a 0, so then we stop adding anything at that time. Now as we come on over here, we now see overlay 7, overlay 8, then we go back to 5, 6, 7, and 8. The 6, 7, and 8 were automatic. Then we hit this next 0, so we stopped doing anything. And then of course this one is not a blank and not a number, and so we did not do anything there. So we could ignore that one as well. So we ignored the start, we ignored mistake, but extended the marker on across it because we were processing it, and then our zeros are properly working as well. So this turned out to be an interesting little script. It goes through and looks at the markers and places the proper images at the right place. And for automating a task, scripting is perfect for that. This person needed to do this task a lot, and so by automating this task, it's going to save them a lot of time. And any task that you have that you do over and over again, it's a perfect candidate to look at scripting to see if that can't help in some way. I've used scripting to help repetitive tasks get done faster many times. So take a look at your processes and see if you have any repetitive tasks. If you do, hey, let me know what it is. Maybe we can work out a tutorial to show you how to automate that task. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Please subscribe, and if you like what you see here, keep tuning in. Please sign up at www.jettv.com and subscribe on YouTube to get further notifications on when new videos are presented.